This is Modern World History State Standard 1.4, evaluating the impact of the collapse of European feudalism, feudal institutions, and the spread of towns on the transmission of goods and people and ideas in Europe. Just like the worksheet that I gave you on this World History Standard, we're looking at feudalism, and the first question there is, what is feudalism, and how does it function as a governing and economic institution? Feudalism emerged as a form of social and economic and political organization after the fall of the Roman Empire. The system was one of a hierarchy in which nobles controlled land and ruled over peasants, serfs, who were permanently tied to the land. During the Middle Ages, feudalism was an institution and territorial expression of unlimited government authority, under the authority of the lords. So later in the extended content, we talk about the collapse of feudalism and how does it correlate to limited government. Unlimited government under the authority of the lords was the rule of the day there in feudalistic times. Lords exercised authority by birth or by appointment, and residents of the lord's territory were their subjects. Feudalism as an institution involved all aspects of life. As a physical system, economic system, subjects were obligated to pay their lord using a variety of methods, including their labor and military service, direct taxes, and tolls. Feudalism was also a system of local governance. Lords appointed agents to administer justice and collect taxes. Okay, we're looking at the second question here in Modern World History 1.4. What were the causes and the impact of the collapse of the feudal institutions on the development of the modern state? Basically, the impact of the collapse of feudal institutions on the modern state were led by certain events that helped in the decline of feudalism, including technological advancements, most of those by sailing. For example, for trade, the bubonic plague, which I have a picture here on the screen, medieval picture, the bubonic plague, the church blaming basically the people being sinful, not following the church, and people were looking to the church for some type of relief, and they weren't getting it there, which would shake their confidence further in the Catholic Church. There was an increase in trade, and that would help the decline of feudalism, as most, like I said, products and subsistence was on the manor, and now you had massive trade. The growth of the middle class, and of course the effects of the Crusades. Now the Crusades caused, in my opinion at least, that most of this, the Crusades to go to the Holy Land and take back Jerusalem, opened up a route for not only trade but of ideas. Ideas of advancement in technologies, advancement in trade, and this would lead to some secondary events like the peasants revolting and the development of towns that would grow, and the growth of a middle class in this new economic time. Also, the Roman Catholic Church was very important, as I said, in daily life, in promoting this feudal social structure, but it would be very damaged in the Crusades. Church patronage contributed to decline during feudalism as a result of the study of the standard. Hopefully you'll understand that the European political, economic, and cultural institutions, and especially the growth of towns and trade, did increase. One last point I want to make is that the Muslim societies had been advanced for many centuries, and going back to the Crusades for a minute, this would be very important in taking these advancements and then transforming them over to Europe. So I just want to make that point about the Muslim societies and how important it was that through the failed crusades, even though the crusades were dominant, of course, where the primary goal was to capture back the Holy Land, that actually the ideas and the advancements of the Muslims would help in causing the downfall of feudalism, and eventually would lead to what would be the rebirth, the Renaissance, and the Enlightenment in Europe.